Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of 10 Minutes with TmFal. So this evening, we're going to be talking circle. You know, I love to use circles. So we're going to be talking about relationships, quality, time continuum of relationships. And these are relationships that could be work relationships, but I'm thinking more personal relationships, partnering relationships, dating, relationships with friends. So I'm thinking non-work relationships that we have. And so if you've listened to some of my earlier podcasts, I use the circle analogy when I can. So let's do the circle. So imagine that one big circle split into 4 quadrants, clockwise, A, B, C, and D. You have the top half, A and B, and the bottom half, C and D. And from left to right, vertical split, you have short term on the left, long term on the right. On the top half, you have high quality relationships, and the lower part, you have low quality. All right? So we have the circle, high quality on top, the top 2 quadrants, low quality at the bottom. And then from left to right, you have short term on one end, the left, and on the right side, long term. So every quadrant, there are 4 quadrants in there, and each one has a quality time match. So let's start with A, which is your top left. We have high quality relationships, short term. So this is not a bad thing. Sometimes a relationship really is meant to be short term, and it's high quality. So that says a lot about you. You're engaging in relationships that are high quality, they're short term, and that's great if that's what you want. So high quality means they're meeting whatever your needs are for that relationship, your physical, mental, emotional needs, spiritual needs, whatever the needs are in that relationship are being met. That qualifies high quality relationships. You're being nurtured and respected. It's short term. And if that's what it is and that's what you want, that's great. However, if you have short-term relationships that you want to be long-term, but they keep ending at short-term, it's time to kind of figure out, are you stating what you want and why that is happening, and why things don't move to long-term if that's what you want. So that's quadrant A, high-quality, short-term relationships. And this is where sometimes people are in your life just for a season or for a reason, but during that time, it's high quality, you're living your best life, they're short-term relationships, and some relationships are meant to be short-term. Because they're dragged over to long-term, they may not stay high quality. So some people are meant to be short-term. Then moving to B, which is your top right, you have high quality, long-term relationships. So if you're in this is amazing. These are marriages that work. These are relationships and friendships that work. Doesn't mean that it's high quality every single minute, but it means that overall these are high quality relationships. People are respectful of each other. Their needs are being met. There's a lot of give and take in the relationship. It's high quality and it's long-term. Now, high quality long-term relationships is where we want to be optimized and where we want to be living all the time. Doesn't always happen. And when you see that you're in high quality long-term relationship, these are either short-term relationships that moved over to long-term, natural progression. Sometimes these are low quality relationships that over time and with work became high quality. And when people are in high quality long-term relationships, they put a lot of work into it to keep it that way. What you don't want is to be in a high quality long-term relationship, start taking your partner or spouse for granted, because those could really then become low quality, still on that half, but in the lower half where they're now still long-term, but they're low quality relationships. So when you're in high quality relationships, both short and long-term, you nurture what it is that makes them high quality. You let the other person or people know that these are high quality relationships. You value them. They're premium to you. You nurture those relationships. You know what it is that makes them high quality. And you learn and continue to grow to keep them in that high quality place, which is B. You also know that if you're in A, which is the short term, you know what a high quality relationship is. So you know what it takes and what you want for yourself. So let's move to the lower half. We don't want to be in these relationships. It's low quality. Life is too short. It really is. Time is value. So many things to do in the world that you really don't want to be sitting in low quality relationships. So in the lower half, you have low quality short-term and long-term relationships. So let's do things a little differently and flip over to the lower left, which is the low quality short-term relationships. Again, I like to be positive. The good thing about this is they're short-term. And hopefully they're short-term because you realize that this is a low-quality relationship, right? So you figured out it's low quality. You can work on why you were in a low-quality relationship. And sometimes it's like you evolve and then you realize it's a low-quality relationship. Sometimes it happens and then you realize it's a low-quality relationship. But the good thing, the positive thing is that it's short-term. You cut it off, you move it on. You move out of that. You do not drag those. So there are lots of people that start off in low-quality short-term relationships, which should have been ended or worked on to become high quality, if that was possible. But because of time, so if you look at from left to right, time goes on. Time matches on. So if you start off with a low quality relationship short term and you don't cut it off, with time, those relationships become long term, right? Because it's just time has gone past. The relationship quality hasn't changed. The people in it haven't worked on anything. It's now just instead of 6 months or 2 months or 1 week, it's now 4 or 5 years. Still the same low quality relationship, except it's long term. And what happens with that is that damages you as a person. When you're in a low quality relationship, friendships, partnerships, marriages that are now long term, people feel trapped. I've been in it for so long. Maybe this is what I deserve. People feel like, well, I might as well stick it out. At least I'm in something. Or sometimes people feel like, well, who else would have me? If this is what I deserve, I'm what I've been in. And then because time has gone on so much, you don't even know that it's a low quality relationship because it's all that you know. And every time you realize that it's a low quality relationship because you actually know what a high quality one is, you get angry, you get mad, you get depressed, you get frustrated. It chips away at yourself and your self-esteem. So if you're in low quality long-term relationships, you really need to sit down and critically evaluate that. That is hard, but that's something you need to do. A lot of introspection and reflection to see why you're in that low quality relationship. What is it that makes it low quality? What part are you playing in making it low quality? Does the other person know it's low quality? Are they happy with the relationship? Are you willing to work on it? Now, if it's a relationship, which is what we're talking about, both people have to agree that it needs work and that there is a willingness to work on that. Otherwise, one person can improve a low quality relationship. So it's a lot of evaluation about why that is happening, what needs to be done, can that be changed? And if it cannot, it's time to kind of step out of that and really critically evaluate that. So, and the lower half, you don't want to be operating on that. If it's a low quality short term, bottom line is you cut it off. The good thing is you've realized that it's short term. It was only meant to be short term and low quality. Figure out what it is that made it low quality so you don't attract that kind of relationship. If it's low quality long term, doesn't mean it's a dead. It just means that if you realize it's low quality, you want better, and both people are willing to work on it, you can move it up from that lower quadrant to the top part, which is now a high quality. You've already been in it long term, so you can make it high quality and work on it to make it that way. If you're in a high quality long-term relationship, which is the top right, the premium, again, this is a great place to be, but it's important not to take the other person for granted or to assume that everything will always be perfect, to continue to work on it, to keep those high quality long-term relationships that way. And if you're on the A, where you have tons of high quality short-term relationships, if that's what you want, and that's great for that time in your life, that period in your life, or those people are really meant to be short-term relationships, and therefore a season or reason in your life, that's great. If you want more long-term, it's time to reflect on why it is that some of these relationships don't become long-term, but at least you're working on high-quality relationships, which is awesome. So again, in our circle, we have high-quality relationships on the top, which is where we want to be operating. Low quality at the bottom, we don't want to be operating. The first thing is realizing what is a high-quality relationship? What does that mean to you? And are you in high-quality relationships or not? The second is, at this short or long term, and what do you want? And if you're high quality long term, that is great. Do not neglect or take your partner for granted. And if you're in low quality long term, no matter how long you've been in it, you can sit and really reevaluate and see if this can be worked on or if it's time to call it and pull the plug. And if you're not in a relationship, so sometimes people think, well, I'm not in a relationship, it doesn't apply. You probably were in a relationship, you're thinking about being in a relationship. And if you're not in one right now, it's a good time to draw the circle, think about your friendships, your relationships, where they fall, what you've learned, what makes it a high quality. And so when you go back into the dating pool or into marriage or into friendships, you know exactly what you want. So again, this is the relationship time circle. It's been fun. Thank you for listening to 10 Minutes with TmFal.